TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donation. Shalom ve'erev tov, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. Israel asserts it will fight back against the plague of anti-Semitism and global Jew hatred. U.S. President Donald Trump reasserts his belief that the Syrian government is not responsible for the deadly terror attack against U.S. service members that was perpetrated by a senior member of Syria's internal security forces. The Islamic Republic of Iran condemns the United States for meddling in Mideastern affairs. Israel will fight against anti-Semitism and sheer Jew hatred amid an indespicable rise of attacks against Israeli and Jewish communities globally.
Since Hamas's genocidal attack on the Jews of Israel on Simchat Torah on October 7th, there have been horrific terror attacks in Berlin and Munich in Germany, and Tokyo, Japan, Montreal, Canada, in Russia, Warsaw, Poland, many in France, many attacks in the Melbourne and Sydney, Australia communities. In Washington, D.C. in the United States, 2 Israeli embassy staffers killed by a gunman who shouted, "Free Palestine." 2 Jews in Manchester murdered on Yom Kippur. And now, it is the open field killing on the Jews of Bondi Beach on the first night of Hanukkah. Attacks on Jews abroad and attacks on Jews here in Israel. All of it enabled by too many world leaders who appease support for terror in their countries, with no real actions to defend their Jewish communities, except advice for their Jews to simply stay home. All the while, Hamas and jihad supporters, they march freely on their streets in their cities.
The Prime Minister's office spokeswoman further revealed that merely 18 hours after the heinous massacre of the Australian Jewish community at Bondi Beach, Sydney, Islamist migrants and radical leftists held a violent protest in front of a Hanukkah event of the Jewish community in Amsterdam.
18 hours after our Jewish community was massacred in Sydney, a violent protest erupted outside a concert hall in Amsterdam for a Hanukkah celebration, with some protesters in the crowd calling to, quote, "kill the Jews." This is simply not about Israel, but the Jewish people and the obsession pro-Hamas supporters to end the Jewish people and the state of Israel. Unfortunately for them, their vicious anti-Semitic campaign has only further proved why the Jewish state is essential to this world, and we will fight back.
Israel's fighting back against the jihadist and Islamist terrorists who are proactively seeking to annihilate the Jewish state, to include state actors such as the Islamic Republic of Iran, and non-state actors such as Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Hashd al-Shaabi, Al-Qaeda, Islamic State, and the Houthis, among others. Nevertheless, in any and all confrontations against those terror states and non-state actors, Israel has repeatedly secured resounding victories. Therefore, during a candle-lighting ceremony for the Jewish feast of Hanukkah, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told IDF troops in attendance that the forces of Israel today are truly performing miracles with supreme bravery, similar to the Maccabees some 2,200 years ago.
Dear friends, Sarah and I are very moved to be with you, brave soldiers of Israel. I look into your eyes, and I see the determination and the courage and the heroism of the Maccabees. You are the Maccabees of our time. I do not say this lightly, not as an empty statement, but out of a deep belief that I know you share, that we are essentially performing the same miracles that the Maccabees performed 2,200 years ago. They stood against a force that tried to wipe the people of Israel, the Jews, and Judaism off the face of the earth. That was the decree, and the decrees that came from Antiochus, who tried to erase the Jews, and what we faced was essentially annihilation. And had those heroes not risen up, he would have succeeded. And in this warfare, we first and foremost saved our people. But we also fought the war of the people of culture, the people of light against the people of darkness. And we are winning. You are winning. You are truly performing miracles with supreme bravery.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, with U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee in attendance, also cited President Donald Trump's admiration for Israel, a small nation that repeatedly overpowers much larger enemies that are proactively seeking its annihilation.
You mentioned our great friend, President Trump. President Trump asks me, how do you do it? Israel is so small, and they are so many, a small country, and your neighbors are so large. Where does this strength come from? It comes from the heritage of Israel. It comes from our faith. It comes from our understanding that we will not allow anyone to sever the life thread of the people of Israel. This is a tremendous and immense thing, and it overcomes everything. You are performing miracles in our day, at this time, just like back then. And I salute you here, next to the Western Wall, where our Maccabee heroes dedicated the temple.
Earlier yesterday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hosted the United States Ambassador to Turkey and Special Envoy for Syria, Tom Barrack, during the course of which they held extensive discussions on Syria, Turkey, and efforts to realize President Donald Trump's ambitious 20-point plan for the Gaza Strip. The Prime Minister's office noted that they had a close and productive meeting, as you would expect from Israel's greatest ally, while Ambassador Barrack posted on his X page that they had held constructive dialogue working towards regional peace and stability. With that being said, Jerusalem remains untrusting of the Damascus regime, merely a couple of days after one of its own ranks, a member of Syria's internal security forces, attacked and murdered 2 members of the Iowa National Guards and an American contractor, and wounded 3 others in what American and Syrian officials reportedly stressed was a jihadist who was expected to be fired from the Syrian interim security forces rather than incarcerated the day after the attack took place. And while Syrian officials acknowledged the Syrian terrorist was a member of its own security forces, President Trump was apparently not updated on the matter, since he continues to insist that the Syrian government was not involved in the deadly attack.
Do you still have confidence in the Syrian president?
I do. I mean, this had nothing to do with him. This is a part of Syria that they really don't have much control over. And it was a surprise. He feels very badly about it. He's working on it. He's a strong man. And no, this had nothing to do with the Syrian government. This had to do with ISIS.
President Trump, who had previously pledged as a campaign promise to withdraw all American troops from Syria, was questioned on why he did not follow through on his campaign pledge.
Why do we have troops in Syria?
Because we're trying to make sure that there's going to be and remain peace in the Middle East, and Syria is a big part of it. The new leader is a strong person, and that's what you need. This is a rough part of the world, and it's been amazing what's taken place in Syria. We got rid of Assad. We got rid of other people that were really bad people and that were in the way of peace in the Middle East. You know, we have legitimate peace in the Middle East, first time in 3,000 years, and we have 59 countries backing it. And we'll see what happens with Hamas. We'll see what happens with Hezbollah. But regardless, I mean, we have countries that want to go in and clean that out if we want them to do it. But they said, in the case of Hamas, they said that they're going to disarm, and we're going to find out whether or not that's true. Hezbollah in Lebanon is been a problem. We'll see what happens there. But there is legitimate, large-scale peace in the Middle East. And if there weren't, we wouldn't have been able to make all of those deals that we've made with the various countries. They would have never been able to do that. If, for instance, if we didn't, with that B-2 bomber right there on the desk, but if we didn't knock out their nuclear capability, we would have never had peace in the Middle East, because you would have had a dark cloud hanging over Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and all the other countries, and they would have never, ever been able to sign an agreement.
Well, President Trump repeatedly emphasized the significance of the joint Israeli-American confrontation with the Islamic Republic of Iran, which essentially diminished Tehran's capacity to export its aggressive policies throughout the region. The Ayatollah regime is now complaining about Washington's unwavering policy of holding the Islamic Republic of Iran liable for its misbehavior.
The United States must be held accountable for its interference in regional affairs and the crimes it has committed, which have resulted in countless deaths. Regrettably, however, the United States is staying on the same wrong path.
Earlier this weekend, Russian President Vladimir Putin met with his Iranian counterpart, Masoud Pezeshkian, on the sidelines of the International Peace and Security Forum that was hosted in Turkmenistan.
We continue to work on our key large projects. This also concerns the nuclear power plant in Bushehr. This concerns the development of infrastructure, including the north-south transport route. We are discussing the possibility of cooperation in the field of gas and electric power. A lot of work continues in the field of agriculture. And of course, we are in close contact on all key international issues, including all matters related to the Iranian nuclear program. You know our position. We support Iran at the UN.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. Please keep the peace of Jerusalem and redemption of Israel in your prayers. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you a Chag Olim Sameach, and God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.